Defend yourself.
Go all out.
Yeah. I mean, Moses taught that.
And my family. If
Yeah.
they want to harm my family.
Yep.
But
You'll have a problem with that, right?
If they're good to me, I'm brilliant with them.
Okay. So given that you and I, we share a belief in God, the question then arises, since we recognize that if we have a family and they're good to us, we should be good to them. If someone tries to harm our family, we will defend our family because we love them. We have to. So if that's true for our family, how much true should that be for our Creator, the one that brought us and our family into existence? Do you think that Creator, we should recognize that Creator to have certain rights?
Well, we've been brought up with free will, haven't we?
We have.
Yeah.
So through that free will, you recognize that
Rights. What rights would you give them?
the right of being thankful, of being loving towards anyone that is good to you.
I'm just pleased to wake up and be alive.
Yeah, but look,
Happy.
love for your brother what you love for yourself, or love for your sister what you love for yourself. In other words, you reciprocate what you receive, right? So your mother and father, they brought you up. When you came to a stage in life where you could pay them back, you did so because you recognize your mother and father has rights.
Yeah, honour thy mother, honour thy father.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, if that's true for our mother and father, or for the animals in our life, the question, like I mentioned before, how much more true should that be for the Creator, who brought us into existence, gives us air?
This is the religion.
Yeah.
We're the first.
Right.
We were there first. Done it, got the t-shirt.
Now here's the question. Were you the last?
We will always be the last.
So, in order for you to be the last, there should be...
We'll be the first, we'll be the present and the last.
Right, so there should be good reasons for you being the last. So I'll give you an example. When the prophets came, such as the final prophets through the line of Isaac, it wasn't Moses, was it? Because you had prophets that came thereafter.
Abraham, Isaac, Jacob.
What about Jesus? Why is it that...
A Jew that came from Judea, he had a big mouth, and a lot of people at that time wanted to follow him.
So why didn't the children of Israel,
I don't know.
by and large, follow him?
I can trace my dad was a Cohen, and do you know what that means?
A Cohen?
They were part of the priestly
Class.
tribe.
Right.
If you're a Cohen.
Okay.
His father, going all the way back
Right.
to the priests in the temple.
Okay.
And my family didn't follow him, because when the Romans came, we were turfed out.
Right.
And we went to Morocco.
Yeah.
And then they went all over Europe. Most of them ended up in Amsterdam, where they were all slaughtered.
Okay. Right.
I haven't got anyone left. My grandfather and his brother were the only two that came over in the last century.
Right.
Everyone else was murdered. Gone.
Sounds like a harrowing affair, but going back to the point I was making,
Yeah.
that when the prophets and messengers come to you, there should be certain signs from the prophets and messengers that make it obvious that they truly are prophets and messengers. Right? So when Jesus came and he quickened the dead and he healed the blind and the lepers, and he openly said to the children of Israel to follow him in order to acquire salvation. Why did you... They didn't listen to him, did they? Now, do you...
There's only one God.
Right. So do you think that's a good thing if Jesus was a true prophet of God? No. Listen to the question, right?
Yeah, but he might have been a prophet of God, but it's God we revere.
Right. And so reverence to this Creator is following him in truth and in justice. So if a man comes along and says, for instance, you've had the prophets and messengers come through the line of Isaac, but I am the man that comes through Ishmael's line. I am the fulfillment, just Ishmael. You know, Ishmael, the oldest son of Abraham, right?
Yeah. But that's nothing to do with us.
No,
Yeah.
but check it out. Check this out. You follow Genesis, don't you? The first book of the Pentateuch, right? In Genesis chapter 17 and 21, God actually calls Ishmael's seed something he doesn't call Isaac's seed. Do you know what that is? A great nation. Now here's a question for you. Why would God in Genesis call Ishmael's seed, his generations, a great nation, full stop, when him being the all-knowledgeable, he knew that from that line would arise, they would eventually become idol worshippers. And there would be only one man in history from the line of Ishmael that would claim, I am a messenger of God. But it's food for thought, isn't it? Why would God call Ishmael's seed a great nation unless there would arise a prophet and messenger from that line?
You mean Muhammad? But that was quite a while later.
Does it make a difference? Moses came quite a while later after Abraham. Abraham came quite a while later after Noah.
I don't worship Moses. I don't worship any man.
But you worship the truth, right?
I worship God.
Yes. So if
Thou shalt have no other God.
yes. So if this God said in Genesis that he's going to make Ishmael's seed a great nation, I think the reasonable question is to ask, well, hold on. Why would God call Ishmael's seed a great nation and not call Isaac's seed a great nation?
Didn't have to. It was a given.
Right. So what was that given?
The Jews are the greatest.
Look.
You should be standing
Yeah.
here doing Judaism.
Look. I'll tell you why I can't be a Jew. I'll tell you why I can't be a Jew.
Well, you can't be a Jew. It takes
Because
2 years.
because it takes
Halfway there.
in Islam it takes 10 seconds to say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Now, I'll tell you why I can't be a Jew. There's too much evidence that Prophet Muhammad was a true prophet of God. I can't ignore that. I also can't ignore where Moses speaks about a prophet to come after him. I can't ignore what Genesis says, that God has blessed the seed of Ishmael and called Ishmael's seed a great nation. Now, have a look at what the Muslims teach. They are one of the strongest proponents of monotheism. I mean, I think our monotheism trumps the monotheism of Judaism, which is a big statement to make because you guys, no worries.
Yeah.
You guys are very monotheistic in your beliefs. Hero is the Shema Isra'ila Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Right? Hero Israel, the Lord our God, Lord is one. You shall not worship the Lord your God in the form of graven images. Look what Prophet Muhammad brought. His first call was to his people, the idols that you worship are the greatest crime against God. And he transformed the seed of Ishmael into that great nation that God said in Genesis chapter 17 and 21 he's going to make. Now look what Prophet brought. Prophet Muhammad brought a law similar to Moses' law. An all-encompassing law that speaks about the rights of God, how to behave with your mother and father, how to behave with your children, how to behave with your neighbors, how to behave with animals.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbour's
Thy neighbor's wife. So look,
oxen.
right, okay, yeah. So
You can covet the wife. It's the oxen you can't.
you can't covet.
You know that.
All right, fair enough. It's a good one. Okay, so look, what is Islam teaching? It's a continuation. Yeah, it's a continuation of
You know what?
Moses.
All I see in Islamic countries are totalitarian. Look at Iran. Women get slaughtered for showing some hair. What kind of place is that?
I've come across plenty of Jews who I would never equate with what the Israeli government and the majority of the Israelis who voted in Netanyahu.
Majority of Israelis. You
Well, it's a
get
democratic-
two
it's a
Israelis
democratic
in a
em-
room, you've got 50 different opinions, and you know that.
And that's,
I was against it, Netanyahu.
you know what?
Well, now I'm for
What you say is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
That you get two Jews and you have 50 opinions.
Oh yeah, Jews are the most argumentative people on earth.
Right. So have a look at what Islam speaks about being a Muslim. That you submit yourself to the truth, that you don't argue. In fact, our Prophet Muhammad, he said that one of the problems of the previous nations was that they were argumentative. They used to ask their prophets about the most irrelevant things.
I know what
Right.
we're argumentative,
Right.
we complain.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're still here.
Now, have a look at the example of the Palestinians. Their generations have been eradicated.
Since the 1960s.
No, since the recent genocide that's taken place. But
Yeah,
but I'm not making the point of the genocide. I'm making the point. I'm making the point.
Terrible.
Yeah, I'm making the
Was
point.
there a genocide on the 6th of October? Was there a genocide on the 7th of October?
So just very quickly,
Yeah.
I'm not making the point about genocide. I'm saying that look at how they've reacted to that. They've reacted with smiles on their faces.
And whinges. Oh, did you see that film when they had the know, and they're all penguins in the background.
I didn't know. But the point here is that, no, it's right.
I know you're taking it.
Yeah, the point here is that as people of God, there should be certain characteristics that define us through the ages.
My best friend's first cousin, in fact, I know two people who were murdered at the Nova Music Festival,
Yeah.
which was a music festival like Glastonbury.
Yeah.
They were murdered.
Look, we would condemn any type of murder and slaughter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that goes without saying that mistakes have been made on both sides, but that shouldn't be a reason or a crutch for us not to accept the truth if it comes our way. So what I'm saying to you, what's your name, by the way?
Mandy.
Mandy, my name is Hamza. Nice to meet you, Hamza. So Mandy, what I'm saying to you is as follows. Mandy, you and I, we've lived life long enough. We've been blessed with a long life. When the truth comes your way in life, is it not reasonable to say that we should accept the truth immediately? If it's in our best interest? Even if it's not in our best interest. For instance, we know that it might ruffle some feathers.
For you to start talking about Palestinians for generations, you do realise before 1948 the Jews were called Palestinians. Do you realise that? The Jews were the Palestinians.
Right, so, I mean, even if that's the truth, how does that stop you, Mandy, from recognising that Islam is calling the Jews and the Christians to the truth of God?
You're perfectly entitled to believe what you want to believe. Until I'm dead, I won't know. None of us knows.
But no, the question is, so you don't know. Do you believe truth? Do you believe God is truth? And if you do you believe that?
I don't know.
You don't know that God is true
Some of the time,
or truth?
she hasn't appeared. Where was she during certain times?
Well, maybe that was a question that we need to ask ourselves. Did we deserve God to be in our lives during those times? No. So there's a verse in the Quran that actually answers your question. God says, because unlike the Bible, which is written by both anonymous and known authors, the Quran, we believe, are the very words of God. I don't think any other religion has this claim. So when you read the Quran, I don't know whether you've had the opportunity of reading the Quran, maybe you should, maybe one day you might. We have an English translation, maybe pick one up and read through it, at least in order to better understand your fellow man.
If I'm going to be religious, I'll be Jewish.
Right.
I won't be any other religion.
So just very quickly, you know the pagan Arabs, they said exactly the same thing. The Quran says,
Which pagan Arabs?
the pagan Arabs of Arabia, through the line of Ishmael.
Because Arabs originated from the Arabian Peninsula.
Well, they actually came through the line of Ishmael,
Yeah, the
right?
Arabian Peninsula.
through the Jurhum tribe.
Yeah.
So the Arabs, when the Prophet Muhammad came to them and said, your worshipping of idols is evil, it's an affront to God, turn back to the true worship of God, which is the call of all the prophets and messengers, that you shall worship the Lord your God alone. They said, you know what they said? Mandy, they said what you're saying. No, they said, no, we will only follow our forefathers, what they were upon. So God responds and says, what? Even though your forefathers did not use their intelligence, neither were they guided? It's a powerful response. In other words, your forefathers, Mandy, are not going to speak for you when you face your Lord on the Day of Judgment.
Yeah, I will be speaking for them.
You'll be speaking for yourself, firstly. No, you'll be speaking for yourself. And if you haven't got it, right for yourself, you won't be able to.
I'm fiercely loyal.
Sure, but loyal to the point of rejecting the truth of God? Are you going to be so loyal that, because look, there were people during the time of the Prophet Muhammad. I'll give you an example. His uncle, he knew that the Prophet Muhammad was a prophet of God. So on his deathbed, the Prophet Muhammad went to visit him because his uncle had helped him from in relation to the persecution that him and his followers are facing. So he said to his uncle, "Oh uncle, say La ilaha illallah and I will intercede for you on the Day of Judgment." And his ancestors, the pagan Arabs, they were there as well, right? So the leaders of Arabs, Arabia were there. They were saying, "Are you going to betray the ancestors of your religion?" They kept repeating that. Are you going to betray the ancestors of your religion? So he was he was between a rock and a hard place. Unfortunately, he died a pagan, and his punishment was that he will enter hellfire, and he will have a hot coal under his soles, which will cause his.
Why can't they just take away say Sky TV on
which
Netflix.
will cause
Oh, come
Amandi,
on.
which will cause his brains to boil. That's the punishment, because he knew, Mandy, yeah, because he knew that the man in front of him was a prophet of God. In his heart, he recognized it.
I don't fancy a hot coal.
No, neither do I. That's why we're saying to the Jews and the Christians what Prophet Muhammad said to you.
What about the Buddhists?
Everyone. So listen to what Prophet Muhammad, however, said to the Jews and the Christians specifically. He said, "There is not a Jew or a Christian, Mandy, who hears of my message and willfully rejects it, except that they will be the dweller of hellfire." So my question to you, Mandy, is as follows. What is it that the Prophet Muhammad brought in terms of his monotheism, in terms of his worship of God, in terms of his upholding of the dignity and the way of Moses that you find abhorrent?
Do you agree with everything that's going on in Iran now?
Mandy, what's Iran got to do with the most important question of all?
That is an Islamic republic. That follows Islam. Thoroughly. Are you on their
Do you know what we follow? The Muslims follow? We don't follow Iran. We don't follow Saudi Arabia. We don't follow this, that, and the other. Our source is the Quran, the Book of God, and the example left to us by Prophet Muhammad, which has been.
You wouldn't kill a woman if she showed some hair?
No, because it's not for me to do that.
Would you stone an adulteress to death?
No. Why would I stone an adulterer? I'm not.
In the Quran.
I'm not in that type of authority to do so, Mandy. But here's the question, Mandy.
Yeah.
When we recognize the truth from God, we should submit to it. So if God, for instance, says, don't drink alcohol because it is a poison, it is an abomination of Satan,
Yeah.
we should submit to that because that comes from the source of all truth.
Well, hang on. Are you aware that in the Jewish religion, on certain nights, you are commanded to drink four glasses of wine?
Right, so...
Did you know that?
Right, so now...
Did you know that?
Yeah, so now...
You can drink grape juice.
Right, so now Prophet Muhammad came along later on and said that it is forbidden for a person to drink alcohol.
No wonder the Jews didn't want to follow that.
Well,
Joking. I'm not that keen on alcohol anyway.
no, but do you see the point I'm coming with?
Yeah.
If God tells us to jump and we know that it's the truth, we jump.
Yeah, and there's another festival where you're commanded to get drunk.
Okay.
You're actually commanded
Right.
to get drunk.
Now, if you know, for instance, that alcohol, for instance, the statistic that 70% of all crimes that have taken place in the UK take place under the influence of alcohol. When you know that alcohol is a poison to your body, it doesn't bring any type of benefit. No, I'm just giving...
I'm not keen on
Yeah, so I'm giving you an example.
You're commanded in the Jewish religion to do that. So why would that happen?
So, for whatever reason God gave that
Yeah.
dispensation, if he gave it, it's been expunged. Just like when Jesus...
You should be talking to some religious Jews.
That's all right, but look, Mandy, those religious Jews are not going to be there to help you on the Day of Judgment. That's the point I'm making. The ancestry that we believe is the be-all and end-all, they're going to die. Like Allah says in the Quran, you will die just as they have died. And your return will be to your Lord. And He will hold you to account, Mandy.
Anyone who's ever crossed the land of Israel and Jews, they don't exist now. Look up throughout history, the Romans, the Nazis. Look at all the people who've tried to wipe the Jews out. Now, what does that mean? The Jews are still here. Do you know how many there are in the world? What, 15 million?
Do you think that's a sign? Do you think that God...
0.2%.
Do you think that God punishes His people if they go astray? Because we do. We don't believe that if you're born a Muslim, right? So I'll give you the example of the Muslims. We don't have this idea of being a saved nation. The Quran clearly states. I'll give you the verse. It says, "You are the best of nations ever raised up amongst mankind."
We don't have an idea of being a safe, but just thinking about it, and no one who's ever tried to wipe them out is still alive.
Right,
Why?
right.
How is that?
I mean, look. The Muslims have been here for 1400 years. Islam is the fastest growing religion in terms of converts in the world. Despite the best efforts of the West in trying to, paint us in a bad picture, right? But just to go back to that verse, Mandy, it says, to the Muslims, you are the best of nation ever raised up amongst mankind. Not because I was born Hamza, I was born Muhammad, I was born into, it's nothing to do with birth or me being from Pakistan or Saudi Arabia or Iran or anything like that. The Quran qualifies what makes us a great nation. It says, because you enjoin all that is good and you forbid all that is evil, and that is your belief in God. In the Quran, God actually says of the children of Israel, He says that the children of Israel, they were cursed at the tongues of Prophet David and Jesus, son of Mary. Do you know why?
Excuse me, Jesus wasn't in the first, Bible, the Old Testament.
But we believe that Jesus was.
I don't look at the...
I appreciate that. But listen to the message that the Quran is saying. It's saying that the children of Israel, they were cursed by Prophet David. You believe in David, obviously.
Well, King David?
Yes.
King David,
Yes. Yeah.
He was one of the first kings
Right.
of Israel.
So God says that Prophet David, he cursed the children of Israel. Do you know why?
Yeah.
Because they were going over bounds. They were forever transgressing the boundaries of God. Do you know what this transgression was? They never used to forbid one another from the evil that they used to do. Does that sound familiar to you? Yeah.
It's life, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's not life. The truth is clear. God is saying that the children of Israel, one of their character traits, unfortunately, at certain points was they became so complacent that they never used to forbid one another from the evil that they used to do. And so God says in response, "La bi'sa ma kanu yaf'alun." Disgusting and vile is what they used to do.
Maybe I'll rethink. I'll come back next week.
Have you read the Quran? Can I give it to you as a present?
All right.
Yeah? Come with me. It's just down there. Yeah. Okay, he's going to bring it over. Listen, I appreciate your time.
Theatre. I'm going to the theatre.
No worries. I'll hand you over this Quran.
To go through there by the theatre, do you?
I don't know. I don't do theatre, I'm afraid. There you go, my dear. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
All right.
All the best.
What happens if you drop this Quran? What happens?
It's in English.
What would you have to do?
With
What happens in the Jewish religion if you drop it? You have to fast
right.
for a day.
I mean,
So revered.
it's in English. We would say, just treat it with a bit of respect. It's the least you could do. Like someone gives us a holy book, we treat it with respect. But listen, thanks for your time. You enjoy your theatre, right?
This is from ancient paganism, which is not in continuity with Abraham and he descended.
Yeah, the likeliness that God, Jesus, actually said something about this is my flesh, eat of it, this is my blood, drink of it. This is abhorrent in Judaism. Very unlikely to have said this. That's why scholars even in Christianity say the historicity of this is very, very unlikely. But because it's in the Pauline writings and then afterwards you have more